Welcome back. We're going to continue down the road in 8.2. We started with the volume of a pyramid in this paragraph right here. And we already discussed the volumes of prisms and cylinders as well. I didn't add the volume of a cuboid or a cube, right? That's going to be length times width times height. Also area of base times height, you could say. We're going to add a new one, and that's the volume of a so-called cone. But what exactly is a cone? Do you know practical examples of cones? Perhaps. And just to clarify, a cone in Dutch is een kegel. And if I say the word kegel, most of you may be thinking about traffic cones, right? Or maybe the form of this icicle right here. This is also an example of a cone. And of course, me having studied architecture, here are some examples of cones in architecture as well. This is so-called truncated cone. En de top is er afgehaald. Hij is afgetopt, zeg maar. For example, here, here, and here on the ground as well. This one is just a cone, right? With the base being on the ground. One of those four is actually built in the Netherlands. Which one do you think is built in the Netherlands? And if you know which one, do you also know where it's built? Well, the correct answer is going to be the second one. If you're going to study on a technical university, if you're going to Delft, this is the library building. Quite a new building as well. Haven't studied there because I've studied in Eindhoven, but I've been here one time for my architectural studies to investigate this building as well. The other three are not in Europe even. This one is a glass museum in Washington. The Valencia Cathedral is in Brazil, if I'm correct. And the Grand Central Water Tower is in Midrand, South Africa. So, that being some examples of cones and also practical examples why you should know what they are and how to calculate on them. How can we actually calculate the volume of such a figure? Well, again, a cone has a base and a certain height. The base of a cone is always a circle. If your base is not a circle, it's actually not a cone. Okay? And the formula for a cone is the same as the formula for a pyramid. Oh, that's nice. So it's going to be 1/3 times the area of the base times its height. But we can now substitute one part of this formula because the area of the base is always going to be the area of a circle. So instead of formulating it like this, we can also formulate it like 1/3 times pi times radius squared times height. Or if you want to be a bit more less elaborate, you can say 1/3 times pi times r squared radius squared times height. And then height you can even abbreviate as h. Right? Like this. How can we use this? Okay, let's take a look at this question. They have filled up a pointed sweets bag to the rim with sweets. What is exactly the volume of this bag? How can we calculate this? Well, remember, the volume of this cone is 1/3 times pi r squared times height. What is going to be my base here? Well, that's going to be this circle here in the top. How can I calculate the area of this circle? Well, it's going to be pi times r squared. What is r right here? Oh, this gives the full answer. Ooh, I'm not going to see that right yet. Well, if you said the r is 12, then you're incorrect. Because r is the radius, so it's from the center to the rim. And this is the diameter. So this is going to be twice as big as the radius. So the radius is 12 divided by 2 is 6. And if I know that, I can fairly quickly now calculate the volume. I do 1/3 times pi, right, it's in the formula, times radius squared, 6 squared, times the height, which is given is 25. As you can see, this is not going to be, you are not going to be able to calculate this without a calculator, because you are using pi here, 3.141, etc. So if you have a question like this, feel free to use your calculator, okay? And that was already what I wanted to discuss here. So remember, the volume of a cone actually is the same formula as the volume of a pyramid, only with the area of the base being substituted by pi r squared. Because you know that my area is the area of the base is always going to be just a circle. Okay? Good luck.